A $30 multimeter can replace hundreds of dollars in diagnostic fees, and 80% of common car electrical problems come down to just 3 or 4 basic functions. This video breaks down exactly how to use one, step by step, covering battery testing, alternator diagnostics, parasitic drains, bad grounds, faulty sensors, and more. Understanding your multimeter settings. What happens to most beginners is predictable, and that's where we need to start. They grab their multimeter, spin the dial to some random setting, touch the probes to a wire, and stare at numbers that mean absolutely nothing to them. Some miss the problem entirely, and others fry their meter because they had no idea what they were doing. 3 settings will handle almost everything when it comes to car diagnostics. DC voltage comes first, and you'll spot it marked with a V next to a straight line with dots underneath, which measures electrical pressure in your circuits and gets used more than anything else. Resistance shows up as the omega symbol and tells you whether electricity can actually flow through a component, while continuity appears as a sound wave or diode symbol depending on your meter and beeps when there's a complete electrical path. The reason this distinction matters comes down to one thing. Your car runs on 12-volt DC power and your house runs on AC. Mixing those up causes real problems, and I've watched people replace perfectly good alternators because they tested with the wrong setting and got garbage readings that made a working part look broken. $75 or more is what shops charge, just to look at problems you can diagnose yourself once you master these 3 functions. And that starts by setting your meter to DC voltage in the 20-volt range, testing your car battery the right way. Unnecessary battery replacements cost people hundreds of dollars every year, and the reason is almost always the same. They test wrong, get a misleading reading, and throw away a battery that had plenty of life left, or worse, they get a good reading on a bad battery and end up stranded somewhere with no idea what happened. Testing voltage with the car off and calling it a day is where everyone goes wrong, because a battery can show 12 volts and still be completely useless when you actually need it. The method that tells you the truth has 2 steps, and skipping the second one is where most people fail. Resting voltage comes first, with the car off and your multimeter set to DC voltage, red probe on positive and black on negative. A reading between 12.6 and 12.8 volts means fully charged. Anything below 12.4 indicates partial discharge, and below 12.2 means the battery is essentially dead and needs charging or replacement. That's when you move to step 2, which most people never bother with. Have someone crank the engine while you watch the meter and pay attention to how far the voltage drops. Healthy batteries stay between 9.6 and 10.5 volts under cranking load, and falling below 9.6 means the battery can't deliver enough power to start reliably even if the resting voltage looked perfect. 30 seconds is all this takes, and 3 friends of mine avoided buying unnecessary batteries this year because I showed them this exact method, which adds up to $300 or more saved, with a test anyone can do. Diagnosing parasitic battery drain. Dead batteries after a few days of sitting with both the battery and alternator testing fine points to one thing, a parasitic drain, and this ranks among the most frustrating problems to track down. Shops charge between $100 and $300 depending on where you live just to locate the source, but your multimeter can find it without spending a dime. Something drawing power when everything should be off is what parasitic drain means, and the culprit could be a stuck relay, a faulty module, an aftermarket radio that never shuts down, or even a trunk light staying on when it shouldn't. Normal drain falls between 25 and 50 milliamps, and anything much higher is slowly killing your battery every time the car sits. Finding it requires switching your multimeter to the DC amp setting, marked with an A and a straight line, then disconnecting the negative battery cable and connecting your meter in series between the cable and the negative terminal. Red probe goes to the cable and black probe to the terminal. And that's when you wait. Your car's modules need time to fall asleep before the reading means anything, and most vehicles need 15 to 20 minutes, while some luxury cars with more computers can take 30 minutes or longer. Readings over 50 milliamps after that waiting period confirm a problem, and pulling fuses one at a time while watching the meter reveals the guilty circuit when the reading suddenly drops. An aftermarket amplifier that never shut off turned out to be the drain I diagnosed last month, and the total cost came to $0 and about 40 minutes of time. Testing your alternator output. A pattern repeats itself constantly with batteries that keep dying. Someone replaces the battery, it dies again. They replace it a second time, it dies again. and eventually, someone thinks to check the alternator and discovers it was never charging properly in the first place. 2 or 3 batteries purchased for no reason, and that money is gone. Charging your battery while the engine runs is the alternator's job, and when it fails, even a brand new battery eventually drains and dies. Testing takes less than a minute with the engine running, your multimeter set to DC voltage, and probes connected to the battery terminals. Healthy charging systems read between 13.5 and 14.8 volts, with most vehicles landing around 14 to 14.4 volts, and that higher number means the alternator is actively pushing charge into the battery. Anything below 13.5 volts signals inadequate charging, while readings above 15 volts indicate overcharging that can damage your battery and fry electronics. Both situations need attention right away. A bonus test involves turning on your headlights, AC and radio while watching the voltage, which might dip slightly but should stay above 13 volts, and dropping below that with accessories on means your alternator is struggling and probably needs replacement soon. Catching alternator problems before they leave you stranded saves real money, because new alternators run between $150 and $600 depending on your vehicle and whether you choose OEM or aftermarket, plus you avoid killing another battery and paying for a tow truck. If you're finding this useful so far, take a second to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss more videos like this one. We put out practical tips every week that can save you hundreds on car maintenance and repairs, and subscribing helps us keep making them. Testing fuses without removing them. Visual inspection is how most people test fuses, pulling them out one by one and looking for a broken metal strip, and that approach misses problems constantly. A fuse can look completely intact with nothing visibly wrong and still fail to deliver power because it's making poor contact, and you'd never know it from looking. Testing fuses while they're still in the fuse box works faster and catches more problems, thanks to the small metal test points on top of modern fuses designed specifically for this purpose. Turn your ignition to the on position without starting the engine, set your multimeter to DC voltage, touch the black probe to a good ground like a metal bolt or bracket, and touch the red probe to each test point on top of the fuse. Both test points on a good fuse show battery voltage around 12 volts, while voltage on one side but not the other means that fuse is blown, and no voltage on either side indicates the circuit isn't receiving power from somewhere upstream. 2 minutes is all it takes to test an entire fuse box without pulling a single fuse, and this method catches bad connections that visual inspection misses completely. 9 times out of 10, when someone brings me an electrical complaint, this technique leads straight to the problem with no guessing and no swapping parts, hoping something works, saving the $50 to $100 that shops charge, depending on their hourly rate. Finding bad ground connections. More bizarre electrical gremlins trace back to bad grounds than almost anything else, yet checking them rarely occurs to most people. Dim headlights, flickering dash lights, slow cranking, accessories that work sometimes and fail other times, random warning lights appearing for no reason. All of these can stem from ground problems that frustrate even experienced mechanics because they're not always obvious. Every electrical circuit needs a return path to the battery through ground connections, usually bolts connecting wire terminals to the frame or engine block, and time causes these connections to corrode, loosen, and rust. That corrosion creates resistance, and resistance disrupts current flow. Testing grounds requires setting your multimeter to DC voltage, connecting the black probe directly to the negative battery terminal and keeping it there, then touching the red probe to various ground points around the engine and body. Readings as close to 0 as possible indicate good grounds, while anything above 0.3 volts means excessive resistance that needs cleaning or replacement, and readings above half a volt are definitely causing problems and need immediate attention. Engine blocks, firewalls, fender bolts, and areas behind the dashboard are common ground locations, and fixing a bad one means disconnecting it, cleaning both surfaces with sandpaper until they're shiny, applying dielectric grease, and reconnecting. $0 is what parts cost for this repair, and I've cleared flickering headlights, intermittent starting problems, and even check engine lights just by cleaning corroded grounds, avoiding the $150 or more that shops charge to diagnose these kinds of intermittent electrical issues. Testing sensors with your multimeter. Advanced territory starts here, and this separates beginners from people who can genuinely diagnose their own vehicles. Check engine lights come on, codes point to a sensor, and most people immediately order a replacement without testing anything, missing what the code doesn't reveal. The sensor might work perfectly fine, and the actual problem could live in the wiring, the connector, or the computer itself. $50 to $200 is what sensors cost, so testing before spending makes sense, and most sensors fall into categories you can check with your multimeter. Resistance-based sensors like coolant temperature or intake air temperature sensors require disconnecting the sensor, setting your meter to resistance, and comparing your reading to the spec for your vehicle found online or in a repair manual, watching for resistance that changes appropriately with temperature. Voltage output sensors work differently, requiring you to set your meter to DC voltage and back probe the connector while it's still plugged in. Standard narrowband oxygen sensors fluctuate between 0.1 and 0.9 volts when the engine is warm and running in closed loop, and comparing what you measure to what's normal for your specific vehicle tells you whether the sensor is actually faulty. Correct sensor readings combined with persistent codes means the problem lives in the wiring or computer, not the sensor itself. A mouse-chewed wire turned out to be the real problem when I tested an oxygen sensor code for my neighbor last year, even though the sensor read perfectly within that 0.1 to 0.9 volt range. Replacing the wire cost nothing, saved the $100 sensor price, and avoided an unnecessary part swap. Checking voltage drop in circuits. Professional mechanics rely on this technique to find problems that basic testing misses entirely. Catching corroded connections, undersized wires, and resistance issues that cause real-world failures even when individual components test fine on their own. Electricity takes the easiest path available, and resistance in a wire or connection uses up voltage before it reaches the component that needs it, causing dim lights, weak motors, slow starters, and generally poor performance across the board. Performing a voltage drop test means setting your multimeter to DC voltage and connecting your probes across the section you want to test while the circuit operates under load. Good wires and connections show nearly 0 volts because all the voltage gets through, and any reading represents power being lost to resistance. Starter circuits get tested by connecting across the positive battery cable from the battery terminal to the starter terminal while someone cranks the engine, with acceptable readings falling below 0.2 to 0.5 volts, and anything higher indicating a bad cable or connection stealing power from your starter. Ground-side testing works the same way, from the engine block back to the battery negative terminal, with less than half a volt being acceptable. Cars that crank slowly despite a good battery and good starter often have cables that look fine visually but contain internal corrosion robbing power, and this test reveals exactly that. $30 to $80 in parts covers cable replacement depending on your vehicle, while ignoring the problem until your starter burns out from working too hard can cost $300 to $500 or more. These 8 techniques combined with a $30 multimeter can diagnose the vast majority of electrical problems in any car, saving you hundreds in diagnostic fees over time. Test your battery under load instead of just at rest. Check for parasitic drains before buying replacement batteries. Verify your alternator charges within that 13.5 to 14.8 volt range. Test fuses without pulling them. Find corroded grounds causing mysterious problems. Test sensors before replacing them, and use voltage drop testing to catch hidden resistance issues. Drop a comment letting me know which technique you'll try first, and if you made it this far, you're serious about learning this stuff. So hit subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos that save you real money on car repairs. Share this with someone who's been getting ripped off at the shop, because this knowledge changes everything. Disclaimer: one last thing before you go. This video is for educational and informational purposes only, and should not be taken as professional mechanical or electrical advice. Working on your vehicle's electrical system carries risks including shock, burns, and damage to your car's components. Always disconnect your battery before working on electrical systems unless a specific test requires it to be connected. Never work around moving engine parts, and if you're unsure about any procedure, consult a qualified mechanic. Your safety is your responsibility, and following the techniques in this video is done entirely at your own risk. Voltage specifications and procedures can vary by vehicle, so always check your owner's manual or a repair guide specific to your make and model.